I forget to, as usual, I forget to turn on my mic. So, hello and welcome to the third Global Stop Cyberbullying Telesummit. My name is Tito de Moraes, and I'm speaking to you from Portugal, from the northern part of Portugal, from a city of Oporto. And this is already our sixth, seventh, eighth session of the 21 sessions that we have planned for this month, for this event. We started on October the 1st, and we'll go on with daily sessions on weekdays until the 29th. Just to give you some background on who I am, because probably some of you might not know me. My name is Tito de Moraes. I run an internet safety project since 2003 out of Portugal. And in 2016, I co-wrote the book Cyberbullying, a Guide for Parents and Educators, together with my dear friend Sonia Seixas and Luís Fernandes. Sonia Seixas is here with us. Hi, Sonia. Hello and welcome.
Thank you, Kai. Hi, everyone. Let's
And,
do another session.
Exactly. And in English, we've been doing sessions in Portuguese with Brazilian guests, Portuguese guests, and in English with guests from several countries. We have Australia, Argentina. Today we have Greece. Sonny is also the co-author of Planned Bullying, How to Erase Bullying from School, and she co-wrote it with Luís Fernandes. They also co-wrote another book called Diz Não ao Bullying, Não Deixe que Te Façam Mal, which means say no to bullying, don't let them hurt you. And this is a book more directed to youth, while the other one is more directed to school. Then I joined the duo. It became a trio when we wrote this book, and also co-authored a chapter for this book published by the Council of Europe called Bullying Perspectives, Practices and Insights. Sonia, myself, and Luís co-wrote a chapter. So this is October, and October is Bullying Prevention Month. In several countries. Is also European and global cybersecurity month. That's what brings us to this event. Let us welcome some of our viewers. We have Maria Leonor Silva says good evening from Boa Noite from Almada. Cíntia Rossano Silva, good evening from Brazil. Bílio Carvalho, the philosopher from Vila Nova de Gaia, hello and welcome. So our guests today are from Greece. It's their names. I'm going to give my best to not to mispronounce them. And our guests are Pichi Protopsaltis and Stefanos Alevizos from Greece, and they'll be talking about the work that the European Anti-Bullying Network, EAN, and its actions to tackle cyberbullying. So, hello and welcome to them both. Hi, Pichi. Hi, Stefanos, and welcome.
Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, Stefanos, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, unmute yourself.
Yeah. He's copying me because I always forget to unmute. So Stefanos is copying me.
I was just about to say the same thing.
So more people joining us. António João Silva is joining us from Braga. He says Boa Noite, and he writes something. Okay.
In Greek.
Nice.
In Greek. Okay. Nice touch. Nice touch.
Thank you, Antonio.
Okay. So we would start by asking you to tell us about a little bit. I mean, I can read your biography, but why don't you give us some information on your background? Who are you, Pichi, and who are you, Stefanos? We start with the ladies. So, Pichi, you want to start?
Thank you, Tito. Pichi, yes, he's making a good effort and he's pronouncing it very correctly, and I appreciate it.
Protopsaltis is easier.
I know. You say it with ease and perfectly. So, good evening to everyone, to all the viewers. Thank you very much, Tito and Sonia, for welcoming us to this session.
Oh God. Oh.
No, it was my fault. Sorry. My apologies.
Okay.
I clicked the wrong button.
We want to start with a splash today, with some adventure.
Some we lost the sound, some the image.
So we've been in touch with Tito for the past few years. This is the first time that we're actually cooperating like this in this session. So we're very, very happy to be doing this today. So very briefly, my name is Pigi Protopsalti. I work in a Greek organization, the Smile of the Child. It's the largest child protection organization in Greece. I've been working there since 2015, and I coordinate international cooperation. My background, my studies are in political science and international cooperation, and my experience prior to joining the Smile of the Child is in the non-governmental, non-profit sector, always working in international cooperation and programs. So I joined the Smile of the Child in 2015. Its international partnerships are numerous. And one of the most important partnerships that the Smile of the Child has is the European Anti-Bullying Network. So today I'm participating in this session representing the European Anti-Bullying Network, which I coordinate. Bullying is one of the main themes of work for the Smile of the Child. It's an area where the Smile of the Child was working for many years, both in prevention and intervention. And several years ago, it considered it important to bring together voices and actors from across Europe to join their forces in having a more common discourse and approach to the issue of bullying. I will say when I enter my presentation a few words about the network. So I'm here to present to you in a few words the network, what it's made of, its members, its actions, its goals. And then my colleague Stefanos will delve more deeply into the actual work of the network on the subject that your sessions are tackling. So I think that's enough of an introduction from myself.
Sure.
Again, I'm very happy to be here and very happy to be speaking to your audience, your distinguished audience. Thank you, Tito and Sonia.
Accepting our invitation. Stefanos, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Of course, following what Pigi said, I am a psychologist. I'm also working at the organization The Smile of the Child. I joined The Smile of the Child in 1998 as a student, a volunteer. Then from 2005 as a professional psychologist. Currently coordinate the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children here in Greece, service that the Smile of the Child provides to the Greek society, dealing with issues of children's rights, focusing on abuse, violence in general, also including bullying and cyberbullying, and missing children and adults. I'm also a PhD candidate at the Pantheon University and the main researcher of the Restorative Justice Lab in the same university. I have worked in many positions in the Smile of the Child, as you can imagine, all of these years. And for 11 years, I was working, I was the coordinator of the prevention department, a team of 17 psychologists that worked with schools, teachers, parents, and students in terms of prevention, mainly on issues of abuse and bullying and cyberbullying, and generally internet safety.
Okay.
May I ask your invitation to participate? It is a big honor for us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present the work of the European Anti-Bullying Network. Thank you, Tito and Sonia, for joining, for your invitation and for giving us this opportunity.
We thank you for having accepted our invitation. May I ask you if there was any event that triggered your interest in bullying in general and cyberbullying in particular? Was there an event that or was it because of your own professional growth and background that you got interested on the subject?
I'll go first and just say that on the side of the Smile of a Child, children is the focus of the organization, and violence and exploitation and bullying and all the harmful things that happen to children are the key area of work of the organization. And as Stefanos will also explain, we have our helplines, our hotlines, where we receive calls from children with issues and parents and teachers and citizens in general. So all of the things, students, so all of the things that happen in society come to us through our helplines. So we're very much aware of the trends, the issues, the risks, and the harmful content that's out there for children. And we do our best to work to prevent it from happening, but also to help children, to support them if they're facing one of these issues. I personally am also a mother. I have a child who's in school. So obviously I have also a personal interest and reason for wanting to work in a children's rights organization, and particularly in being aware of, alert to, and preoccupied by the risks that children face in the school environment and on the internet, environments that normally should be safe, loving, and peaceful settings for children. So I think those are the reasons for motivation. And of course, my professional work is what links me to the specific subject matter.
How about you, Stefanos?
Okay, I will follow the example of Pigi, and I will answer in two levels, the personal and the professional one.
Right.
Regarding the personal, I live in a suburb of Athens, in a nearby city. It's mainly the same, Piraeus. It's in brackets, it's a difficult area here. So as a student, I was facing many issues of bullying, of violence in these schools of this area of Athens. Regarding the professional, I have to mention that bullying, before talking about cyberbullying, bullying came to the Greek reality in 2006 when a child got lost. We had a case of a missing child here in Greece. And why it was a big issue here, for many months, and for many months it was the first topic on news. Everybody discussing about that. Where is this little boy? And during the investigation, it was found that he was killed by four other boys from his schools, and it was the first time that the word bullying and its Greek translation ekphovismos, difficult one, but the first time that this word was in public. Okay. So from this point, this starting point here in Greece, the term bullying and then cyberbullying is a main issue on academic research, on the field of NGOs here in Greece, on universities, as well as on the media. We are talking a lot about issues of bullying and cyberbullying.
Okay. So thank you for your introductions. We also have viewers in Spain. Sinai de Luna says, saludos desde el norte de España. Saludos, Sinai de Luna. Gracias por seguirnos y estar nos viendo. So I'm going to bring up Piggy's presentation. And
may I add something?
Yeah, for sure.
That I think that the viewers should know that the Smile of the Child, that holds the presidency of the European Anti-Bullying Network, has done a lot of work on the field of bullying and cyberbullying. We have publications, in international scientific journals on the topic of bullying and cyberbullying. We have a memorandum of understanding with the Greek Ministry of Education here, so as to to perform prevention activities inside schools, not only with students but also with teachers and parents and guardians. And currently, we are members of the Greek National Committee the Greek National Committee of Bullying and Cyberbullying, a committee that is organized and supervised by the Greek Ministry of Education. The Smile of the Child is the only NGO and private sector that is a member of this committee, and that's why we are here, and that's why we represent the European Anti-Bullying Network on this telesummit meetings.
Great. So I'll pass on put on the presentation for there. Okay. So the floor is yours, PG.
Thank you.
Saltish.
Perfect. Thank you. So a few words about the network. So this was back in 2013, 2014, when the Smile of the Child led an EU-funded project, a Daphne 3 project. And the project was called the European Anti-Bullying Network. So among other things, one of its main outputs was to establish a European network working on the issue of bullying. So the network was actually created in January 2013, and it was officially launched at the closing conference of this project, which took place in Athens in June 2014. So the participating organizations of the project were the founding members of the network. So that's when it all started in 2014. And we decided quickly thereafter to officially register the organization in Belgium. And we registered it in March 2015 as an international nonprofit making association. So the European Anti-Bullying Network is a pan-European network based in Belgium. It's a network of organizations working in and across Europe, but not only, it's open also to non-European actors, to combat the phenomenon of bullying, cyberbullying, and school violence by bringing together stakeholders working in prevention and intervention. So the main objectives of the network are for coordinating anti-bullying actions and initiatives at the European level and developing partnerships across Europe, campaigning and advocating for a common approach, a common European strategy against bullying in Europe, and monitoring and influencing policies at national and European levels, producing and promoting the exchange of good practices, enforcing capacity building and providing tools and trainings to professionals working in the field, and of course, raising awareness among the general public and empowering children and young people, as well as parents, guardians, and teachers on how to tackle bullying. So as far as we know, we're the only pan-European network of its kind, even if we're still relatively young, and still, even if we're still not as large or expanded as we would like to, or we aspire to be. The members, as I said before, are both European, national, European, and also international. So any national, European, international organization with a legal personality, as well as an individual, can be a member of the network. And our statute provides for three main categories of membership: the full members, which include NGOs, independent agencies, academic and research institutions, and other such entities; associate members, which include basically national, regional, and local public authorities, governmental entities, and independent authorities; and third, affiliate members, which include primary and secondary education institutions. Individuals also can be accepted as honorary members or ambassadors of the network. So we currently have, I will show you in the next few slides, the members that we have to date. We have one school. We have mainly non-governmental organizations, but we also have a public important authority. So today we have 21 member organizations from 14 countries. I won't go through them. I'll just allow a couple of seconds for the viewers to see who the members are. The countries that are represented are Bulgaria in alphabetical order, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Finland, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Lithuania, Malta, North Macedonia, Romania, Spain, and the UK. So from these organizations, as you can see, the third, we have a national governmental entity, the Cypriot Observatory on Violence in Schools, which is it operates under the aegis of the Ministry of Education of Cyprus. And we also have one school here in Greece, a private school, that you can see, and mainly other organizations. Some of you may recognize some of the organizations, so you can understand that some are large organizations working broadly on children's rights, and some are smaller, more focused on bullying or education, training, etc. So this is just the overview of the membership. We have a simple structure, as most networks. We have a board of directors. We have a general assembly. We have honorary members, 2 individuals. One is a former member, late member, Professor Dan Olveas, our distinguished member, and Professor Peter Smith, very distinguished, a current honorary member. And we also have a secretariat, which is hosted by the Smile of the Child. So the board of directors has 9 members currently. As we've said several times, the Smile of the Child is the founding member of the network and also holds the presidency. It now holds it for the 4th consecutive term. And it also hosts, in kind, the secretariat of the network. So we operate, myself as coordinator and my colleagues, we operate out of the Smile of the Child on behalf of the European Anti-Bullying Network. We were very happy to have the late Professor Dan Olveas, world leading expert and founder basically of bullying and research around bullying, as an honorary member. And he was with us in the launch opening conference, inaugural conference in June 2014 in Athens. And as most of you probably know, he passed away last September. And also to have Peter Smith with us, who continues to guide us and support us scientifically in our work. So the actions of the network are developed across 4 main pillars. Capacity building. So we try to strengthen the capacity of our members and non-member organizations in preventing bullying and also tackling it. Method development. So we try to stimulate and support the empowerment of young people, adults, and institutions to prevent and to respond to bullying. Awareness raising. As I said earlier, among its objectives, is to raise awareness on the issue across society. And within this pillar, we're also soon to be announcing the launch of a formal certification process for anti-bullying policies in schools, and also advocacy. So we strive to monitor national European policies and stimulate and support higher impact strategies across Europe. Our work so far, I will present it very briefly because Stefanos will go more in depth in these things in his presentation. So we've produced some very important strategic documents. The first is the most recent EAN policy paper, a paper that basically summarizes our position as a network and our recommendation to decision makers. And earlier on, back in 2014, we produced 2 very important documents, a strategy position paper and also a compilation, a guide of anti-bullying good practices. Stefanos will tell you more about those. They're available in different languages, in hard copy and electronic copy. We also aim to participate in projects, and we've participated in 2 projects, with the third one being now a more recent one. So the European Anti-Bullying Network was the first project, that's why I didn't mention it, that launched the network. So ever since we were established, we have been participating in 2 projects. Both are Erasmus Plus projects. The first, ended last year in 2020. It was called Anti-Bullying Certification Project, but basically produced self-assessment project process for schools. And now we're involved in another very important project as partner always. We're not leaders, we're partners in consortia on a whole school and community approach to tackling bullying. It's called the SAFER Project. We've also worked on campaigning. We worked hard several years ago on pushing for establishing an EU Day Against Bullying, and it had some success. We finally reached a written statement by the European Parliament on this. We produced a documentary, and Stefanos will present more details about that, Bullying Diaries TV documentary that can be used as a prevention and raising awareness tool in the school community. We do so, we use it here in Greece. And also we worked with a very prominent advertising company, Ogilvy and Mather Berlin, in 2017 to create targeted national and EU-wide campaigns to mobilize students, parents, and teachers in Greece and beyond to unite their anti-bullying efforts and initiatives under the slogan, Speak Now. We've also organized several scientific conferences, and Stefanos will also say more about those, in different countries from our membership. And most recently, now this year in 2021, we organized online, because of COVID, a series of 3 events to honor Professor Olveas, inviting very prominent speakers from Europe and beyond, the US, Australia, etc., to speak about the development and the progress of the definition of bullying through the years and specific issues. I mentioned earlier that we are working on an anti-bullying certification. We consider this to be a very important project. We started through a project funded by the EU, the ABC project, and this was like a prequel to what we're now about to launch. We developed important tools that are available online. So we developed the European Review of Anti-Bullying Policies and Recommendations, a manual for a self-assessment procedure, and an intervention toolkit manual. And now we are near finalizing a full-fledged certification scheme. We've been working on this as a network together with a certification agency, a full-fledged management system for combating violence and bullying of minors in organized structures, schools and other organized structures. So this is a full-fledged scheme that can be used in any country across Europe, that includes a standard and then a process of auditing that leads eventually to the award of a certification mark. So we in Greece are about to announce this beginning of the use of this scheme. So thank you very much. I didn't want to take up too much of your time to present the network. It's a more, let's say, managerial presentation. Myself and my colleague Marilena, were the 2 people working in the secretariat team out of the Smile of a Child. This is our contact information. And we're happy to receive messages, requests, anything from anyone from your audience. We're very happy to expand the network and to welcome in our group, in our family, schools, individuals, organizations, and any type of stakeholder. We're here to bring together all the forces across Europe working to tackle this issue. Thank you very much. You're on mute.
You're on mute
I am.
again.
Who else? I was saying that we have agreed that we'll have questions and answers in the end. So I'll hand on to Stefanos. You can bring up your presentation, and I will allow it on this end.
Sorry for the delay. Give me
No
one.
problem, no problem. If you need any help,
No
just
problem.
let me know.
Okay.
Okay, I have it here.
I think that now you can see my presentation.
Yes.
I will put it also in a full mode.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So, as Piggy said, I will try to present you all the scientific work that the European Anti-Bullying Network has done so far and our next steps in the field of bullying and cyberbullying. First of all, during the project, but also as a network, we produce the EAN strategy position paper. We have writers, authors, and researchers from all over Europe. You can see some names. I will not refer them. I won't say their names, but everybody can see them. Apart from partners and people from the organizations that that are members of the European Anti-Bullying Network. We also had academics and researchers from university, taking as example Mrs. Vaso Artinopoulou, that she's a professor of criminology of domestic violence, and she deals with issues of bullying here in Greece. What we have done with this EAN strategy position paper, we try to find out all the research and the official policy of the European Union and the Council of Europe, the research and the policy framework of the United Nations, the research evidence of other EU and international bodies. So what we have done is to start to see what researches and policies we have around Europe in a European level, and to capitalize all existing national anti-bullying policies and mechanisms and good practices running in member states for handling the phenomenon not only of bullying but also of cyberbullying, as I will see in my next slides. So we found the existing studies of bullying and anti-bullying of bullying and anti-bullying policies in Europe, and then with the supervision of Pantheon University and Mrs. Artinopoulou, we developed a comparative approach to these studies to conclude in 12 recommendations that EAN thinks and say that all member states of country members of European Union should follow in order to be able to not only to handle cases of bullying or cyberbullying, but also to prevent them. So we think that we have to every member state should create a certain policy framework, including laws, protocols, regulations that teachers, institutions, as well as public authorities should follow in order to handle cases of bullying and cyberbullying. We have to take into consideration cultural differences between among students and teachers and parents. We think that we believe that apart from discussing directly on issues of bullying and cyberbullying, what it is, how the child, the victim feels, or how the perpetrator, the bully, why the bully behaves in that way. We think that we can handle the issue not only directly, but by teaching and educate children on human rights, on children's rights and peace values, to give them tools, mechanisms in order to manage their conflicts, to manage their anger, and to find peaceful ways to resolve any dispute that they have with other children. We believe on, as I told you before, the Smile of the Child believes on whole school approach, as well as the EAN. It's also a recommendation that the European Anti-Bullying Network follows, the whole school approach. That's why you will see that all our tools and all our work refers to children, teachers, and parents and guardians, as well as authorities, institutions, everyone that has to do with issues with bullying and cyberbullying, doctors, lawyers, or whatever, the whole community approach. We believe that every professional that deals with the issue of bullying and cyberbullying, it would be useful for them to have some manuals and guidelines on what to do in such cases, and I will present you later our manuals and guidelines. And also, we believe on research, what people believe on bullying, how many cases we have, some quantitative and qualitative characteristics of the phenomenon, not only in a national level but also on European level. We believe that every policy or a good practice must be evaluated and to have follow-up on them. We believe that every country of member state of European Union should have a database on cases of bullying and cyberbullying, networking in order so as to exchange good practices and good aspects of policy that people should follow, and dissemination efforts. This is what we believe that every member state should follow in order to prevent and tackle with issues of bullying and cyberbullying. That's why, but I will stay on the research and the evaluation to link with the other deliverable of the second deliverable of European Anti-Bullying Network project and the network as a network, the European Guide of Anti-Bullying Good Practices. We are very proud of this guide, and now we are as you see in the presentation of PG, we have some working groups inside the European Anti-Bullying Network. I am a member of the working group that we are trying to update the guide of anti-bullying good practices in order to have all the new practices that member states implement in terms of prevention and tackling of bullying and cyberbullying. The first European guide was written by many researchers from all over Europe. Again, we had the help and the supervision of the Pantheon University and Professor Artinopoulou on that, and her partner Iro Michail from Cyprus. The methodology that we follow, we can see this methodology in three stages, in three phases. The first phase was to create the tool that all the researchers will use in order so as to be able to collect good practices from all over Europe, not only the participant countries of European Anti-Bullying Network, but all Europe, including countries that are not members, that are not represented in the European Anti-Bullying Network, such as, for example, Belgium or other countries that were not members in this phase of the European Anti-Bullying Network. So we created this tool with many aspects, including the research and follow-up and evaluation. We wanted good practices that are evaluated, and they don't have only, in brackets, good intentions to handle cases of bullying and cyberbullying. The second phase was to to collect all the good anti-bullying practices based on the previous tool by partners, and we elaborate on them the scientific group that I presented you before. We collect them and we're trying to analyze step by step what the good practice is, how it works, if it is evaluated, what was the results of the evaluation, and other characteristics that I will present you later. The final phase included the analysis and the final selection of good anti-bullying practices, which were included in this guide. Partners, the researchers of this task of European Anti-Bullying Network were motivated to search for good practices that are simple and user-friendly, describe the method the good practices follow, indicate what good practice criteria have been met, identify obstacles faced and how they have been overcome, demonstrate the possibility of replication. This last part, the possibility of replication, it was crucial because we wanted to have a European guide and not only national guides. We wanted to be sure that a good practice, for example, that we will use in Greece, it would be effective also in Spain, in Italy, in United Kingdom, etc., in France, etc. To the end, the collection features practices that make a specific contribution to anti-bullying practices, have an impact on policy, are innovative, replicable, and sustainable. The sustainability was also a big issue among the researchers on the fact that we wanted to propose some practices that could be used in the long term and not only for a short period. So we collected good practices that can fall into categories such as training and education practices. Practices that were referring to the training of educators, for example, or of teachers on how to deal with these issues, awareness raising activities and practices, capacity building, funding and resource allocation, communications outreach networking, policy change and partnership development. So, as a conclusion, we think that every good practice should lead to an actual change that contributes to anti-bullying or breaks new ground for a particular target group, victims in their school environment, for example, as well as in the broader social context of the entire European Union, but also children involved otherwise in bullying as perpetrators or observers. Demonstrate a link between the good practice and some visible or measurable change in bullying for the particular target group. And as I told you, it was a main concern for us to have an impact on policy concerning anti-bullying practice or whatever. This could include impact on legislation, regulations, or resource allocation. We also believe that every good practice should demonstrate an innovative and a replicable approach. In the context of this set of good practices, this implies that capacity to demonstrate what is new or unique about the initiative, either its product or process, and offer opportunities for the initiative to be replicated in other locations and or contexts. And finally, be sustainable in this context through mainstreaming, funding, or partnership. Both European policy paper and European Guide of Anti-Bullying Good Practices can be found on our website, on the website of the Smile of the Child and the members of the European Anti-Bullying Network. But also in my last slide, I will have my email. So everyone, if any viewer wants to receive the English version of these two deliverables, I can send them. We also have it on Spanish, but not on Portuguese. We had a special interest in good practices that emerged from a partnership arrangement involving a range of organizations, are transferable, addressing specific issues related to bullying, discrimination, inequalities, cyberbullying, hate speech, and finally, good practices that are innovative. So, in this guide, you will have see anti-bullying good practices that promote active participation of teachers, parents, and educators. We think that all the actors of school community, of all community, should be active throughout the practice of the good practice, throughout the implementation of the good practice. You will find good practices that follow the whole school approach. Many of the anti-bullying practices were using a whole school approach in order to produce more effective and widespread results, while they actively engage target groups in joint efforts to accomplish the anti-bullying goals. The third one was networking, a whole community approach. All the actors should work together in order to prevent and handle cases of bullying or cyberbullying. What we saw is that networking seems to play an important role both in supporting the practice implementation through volunteering, for example, as well as in the financial support of the practice. I don't think that it is something to be questioned. Scientific support in the implementation, in the design and in the implementation and the measurement of the results of a good practice, we need scientific support. We were happy to see that most of anti-bullying practices were supported by universities, university staff and scientific staff, or public or private organizations, NGOs, and researchers. Research prior to the implementation, as well as the evaluation and follow-up research during and after the practice implementation, are important in order to produce sufficient evidence of the practice's effectiveness. Moreover, problems and obstacles can be identified and improved through the first step of the research. And finally, dissemination efforts. Most of the good anti-bullying practices had dissemination tools, such as press releases, online resources, videos, documents for schools, Facebook pages, brochures, posters, events, and or YouTube channels. This was very helpful also for the researchers to detect the anti-bullying good practices, because it was not very easy to communicate with, for example, with the ministries or other national bodies and answer if they have good practices or even practices for prevention or handling bullying or cyberbullying cases. As PG said, we had till now 5 international conferences. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we have not had a conference since 2018. But in 2021, we have a series of EAN online events on the legacy of Professor Dan Olveus that already PG mentioned that he was an honorary member of our network. The first big international conference was here in Athens, in Greece. in Brussels, in Malta, in Città di Castello in Italy, again in Athens, and the online events. If any of the viewers wants to receive the proceedings of the conferences, he or she can contact it with me through my email, and I will send them the copies. Finally, we have a documentary. We are very proud of this documentary. It is in 6 European languages: Greek, Spanish, Italian, Romanian, English, and German. It describes stories, real life stories of children in Greece, in Great Britain, and other countries that faced bullying for many reasons, bullying and cyberbullying, even though issues such as bullying due to racism, LGBTQI plus issues. We have we host also in this documentary scientific personnel from different universities that speaks about that they talk about the phenomenon and probably the solutions and an analysis of these stories. It's a 1-hour documentary, and in Greece it is approved. We had a protocol with the University of Aegean University. With the University of Aegean. Aegean University is another university. We have with the University of Aegean a protocol of how teachers can use Bullying Diaries documentary inside their classrooms so as to use it as a prevention tool. The documentary lasts for 51 minutes, as I told you, and it is and the evaluation of the implementation of the prevention program linked to Bullying Diaries was had a very positive ranking. So I think that we have 8 minutes for questions. This is my mail. Everyone can send me and ask for whatever they want. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Stefanos.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Finally, a good example of the prefix pen. we are so tired of hearing the word pandemic, and today I heard this marvelous example of a pan-European network. So good pen.
Thank you very much.
And I have plenty of questions to ask, but I would like to acknowledge Fernando Ferreira, who is following us from quite some time already, from Oliveira das Mães, which is in the northern area also of Portugal, is from a group of schools called Soares Bastos. So welcome, Fernando. And we have a friend from Madrid. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce the name. Ivailo Lampier sends regards from Madrid.
Greek, Spanish.
Regards for him as well, and thank you for following us. Sonia, I am sure you also have plenty of questions, but I would like to ask one to start, and then we'll interchange. I saw that Portugal is still not a member. There is no organization still a member of the European Anti-Bullying Network, which I think it's a shame. I tried to help you out getting the Ministry of Education to become a member, and it's said that they're still not a member. Are there any plans or for Portuguese organizations to be members that are in the pipeline? Or do you want to appeal any Portuguese organization that might be watching and what they can do to try to join the EAN?
If I may answer first, as a coordinator of the network, as a manager here, we've one thing to clarify is that we're not only in touch with the organizations that are formal members. So organizations that are formal members means that they've taken the decision to commit and to join another network and have a formal collaboration. The truth is that we have a dialogue and communication and cooperation also informally with some organizations that perhaps are not yet ready at this moment, or perhaps are already involved in many networks, but we have a dialogue with them. The second thing I wanted to say is that
how we have been talking, by the way.
yes, we've been talking like that, but today we have moved a step forward, I think, and so we will. I hope this will grow into something bigger.
Good.
Now, as the Smile of the Child, the Greek organization, we participate in other European networks and in those on other issues. And in those networks, we are in touch and work closely with some very important Portuguese organizations. So, for example, EAC and other APAV and others. So we're familiar with Portuguese organizations' work, and we have approached some and have a dialogue with them. So the answer, to sum up, is that we want Portugal, of course, we want Portugal on board. We hope that today, by also engaging a broader audience, your audience, will help in that direction. And your help is most precious in that as well, in suggesting organizations, but also schools, as I said. It doesn't only have to be a big organization. It can be a state authority, it can be schools, it can be also individuals. So we're open to anyone who's working on the issue, and would be very happy to have Portuguese.
Do you have municipalities as well joining?
We can have municipalities. Okay. We've had in the past. Another thing to mention is that we have had also a short number of members that were members for a few years but then left. We have had also, and we did have, let's say I was like a regional public authority from Italy that was a member for a while. As we also had an American organization, but then decided to, separate. So yes, we're open to municipalities as well, to any. It's local, regional, or national authority. So yes, we would be very happy to have.
Are you also open to Brazilian organizations or Portuguese-speaking organization in African-speaking countries like Angola or Mozambique? And
that would be wonderful. In fact, in 2016, we changed our statute to be able to allow non-European organizations, because our original statute limited it to organizations in European countries. So now we're open to non-European countries. I'm not sure how we would tackle the language issue yet, but if other organizations, they have to be able to exchange in English. That's our common language in the network.
Sure.
But yes, we would be very happy to have organizations from outside of Europe. Very happy.
Okay, Sonia.
Well, I would like to ask you just one question. What's the main problem of bullying and cyberbullying in Europe?
Stefanos, I think that's for you.
We start with an easy question.
Very easy.
I think
very easy.
I think it's probably one of the hardest questions I have ever been asked. I don't know what's the main issue. I can give many answers. I think that the fact that I can give many answers shows the fact that it's an issue, a problem with many dimensions. For example, in Greece, we have I will take as example the Greek reality. In Greece, we have a main problem on decide what is bullying and what is not bullying. The second issue is the database. What we're discussing, how many cases we had, what was the quantitative and qualitative characteristics of this case and how they changed during the pass of the years. We don't have such mechanisms, and as far as I know, there are not such mechanisms on a European level. So I think we have to gather all good practices, all the ideas, and to monitor the phenomenon, to see what is the phenomenon, what exactly is the phenomenon, to have records, and to see how the phenomenon change in a quantitative and qualitative characteristics during the pass of the years. I don't know if, Sonia, if I have
No,
answered.
you did.
I,
I think
I,
one of
I,
the things that I was thinking about, it's one of the main problems is the lack of collaboration
Of
between
course,
organizations. So it was a good example in your presentation of how collaboration it works.
of
So
course. And as you see in my presentation, we were discussing a lot in our scientific committee about networking and how we will bring the organizations and the researchers together and other institutions, not only in the field of research and the follow-up or whatever, but also in the field of funding, for example,
yes,
to be
yes,
able to continue the projects.
the work, yeah.
yes.
That brings me to one of the questions. You presented us, let's say, two big documents that you have produced, the strategy paper and the guide.
Of
And
course.
if we take, for instance, the recommendations, the 12 recommendations, which are the ones that you see being more adopted and which are the ones that you see being less adopted in the recommendations?
You mean which of these recommendations have already been adopted from some states?
Or are adopted by more organizations or projects or whatever?
Actually, I'm not in the position to answer because, as I told you, there is not a monitoring mechanism to see
Mechanism.
what
Okay.
organizations or ministries of the member states are following. I think not I think, these recommendations were mostly referring to governments.
Okay.
So we don't have. Not only as network in a European level, there's no such mechanism to see what what they do in
Yep.
their countries.
Okay. So it was to start for. It was a problem to find the good practices.
It was a
Because
big problem, not a problem. It was a big problem. Cultural issues, language issues, the lack of willingness to share practices with other members or states, and mainly, we were having many practices that were not evaluated. They only have a good intention, but it was not evaluated if what they were were
is it
describing.
effective? Is it not effective? There's no information on that. I
Of
see.
course.
Okay. I was curious with the bullying diaries. Is it publicly available? Can anyone, a school, order a copy? Is it available to be broadcasted by TV, for instance? How does it work? How can I see the bullying diaries? And the other one is there a guide that goes with the documentary so that teachers can have that guide to to see how to use the documentary with students?
Okay, the documentary is on YouTube. If you click if you write Bullying Diaries or European Anti-Bullying Network, you will see the documentary. In Greece, we had the permission to to be broadcasted by the national TV channel here. So I think it is free. Piggy, I don't know if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You can use it. Regarding the manual following Bullying Diaries, till now it's on Greek. Only in Greek.
Only in Greek, okay.
Yes, we have not translated it into English, but we are planning to do that. Also, the results of the evaluation, and but if someone, for example, some of the viewers here his or she is teacher and wants to work with Bullying Diaries, I am at his or her disposal to have meetings to explain how we work. It's nothing difficult. We only need the documentary and some questions and instructions for students. It is very easy to be implemented.
Okay. And does the version on YouTube has subtitles in any other language other than Greek?
In Spanish, I saw it in Spanish.
Oh, really? In Spanish? Okay, good.
Yes, there is actually it is on 6 European languages:
Good.
Greek, Spanish, Italian, Romanian, English, and German.
Okay, great. I don't know if anyone in the audience has a question to ask. If you do, please put your question.
May I propose something?
Sure, sure.
It would be very useful and interesting to be also translated into Portuguese.
Yes, I have a friend that studied Greek, and I'm going to ask him one, if he would tackle the job, and second, if he would be he knows enough Greek to be able to translate it into Portuguese. I'll let you know.
Of course,
because then I'll need. It's easier if you get a file with, for instance, the Spanish version or Greek subtitles, or even the English. But then, we'll work on that. We'll work on that. Okay.
Great.
The main language of the documentary is English, because it was a deliverable of the project, of the European project, not a Greek project.
Okay. I'll have to have a look at it. If anyone doesn't have a question, I have one. Greece is in a position in the middle of a battle, basically, with refugees and whatnot. Have you been feeling that there is bullying motivated by either defending or opposing refugees?
May I begin?
Yes, I think you know what happens in the schools.
Of course. We have many cultural issues. We have many bullying incidents relating to cultural issues or issues relating to country origin, because they don't know. And especially this wave of refugees, I don't know, is a Greek translation or wave of refugees?
Yes.
Okay. This wave of refugees are far from our culture regarding their appearance or whatever. So it is something strange. We are not prepared to, children were not prepared to live and be in the same school with these children. They have another culture from far from the Greek way of thinking. So we have many incidents of bullying relating to refugees. It is not strange in Greece. We faced the same thing back to 90s in the second phase of refugees, coming from Balkans and Albania in Greece. So it was not something strange, but still, from mid 90s till now, we are still not prepared to handle these cases.
Okay. Well, I have to thank you for your kindness in accepting our invitation. We know that you are eager to go to bed and sleep because you are 2 hours ahead of us.
2 hours.
I would like to have your final tips or recommendations that you'd like to leave with our audience. But think about them for a minute, and then I'll come back to you because I need to introduce tomorrow's guest. I'll be back with you in a minute. Tomorrow we'll have a guest from Brazil, but she's been living in Portugal for almost 20 years. And she's been working in a project here in Porto, in the city where I'm talking to you. And she'll be presenting that the digital world is not real. She'll be presenting also some data from a project that she led here in Portugal. So meet us tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. I'll be with Luís Fernandes. The language will be in Portuguese, to speak with Joyce Nogueira and learn from her and her experience. And this said, I'm back to you to listen to your final comments, recommendations, tips, or guidelines that you want to leave us with. I don't know if you have any questions before that, Sonia. No. Okay. So go ahead, ladies first. So, Piki.
From my side, I ought to have to put forth a recommendation that people join our network and join our operation. So I think everyone watching this cares about the issue. I think we all feel the same, that children need to be protected and children have a right to be in a safe and happy environment, that it's their basic right, and that it's up to all of us to work together and bring on board all parties involved in order to make sure that children have a safe and happy experience in school. And we welcome anyone, individual, organization, parent, teacher, school, who wishes to be part of our effort.
Thank you. Stefanos.
I don't think that I have something to add, but only to note that we're not talking only about children. We're talking about adults. We're talking about whole community. The today victims of bullying or perpetrators or observers are the tomorrow active citizens, and the bullying and the impact of bullying may influence all of us. So we have to act to protect our children, to protect all children all over the world, and to protect our community.
Absolutely, and to protect future adults as well, because we've seen that incidents of bullying also are happening in all areas of life and at work as well, and so forth. We focus on bullying during the school-age children, but actually, it's spreading in other areas. You were saying something, Stefano?
Yes, I would like also, as PG, to thank all the participants for joining today's session. And thanks again for the Greek.
Wow.
For people.
Well, Abilio has some Greek for
That's
you.
what we see. Very impressive.
And Antonio also.
And Antonio João Silva also says, great session. Thank you. And
thank you too.
Abilio Carvalho says, an excellent live. Congratulations to the guests. So I have to thank you for sharing your experience with us, to sharing your knowledge with us, and also to let us know a bit more about the European Anti-Bullying Network. It was a pleasure to have you here with us, and we look forward to interacting with you in the future. To all our audience, see you tomorrow, 9:30. We'll have another live. And have a great week for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.